We're going to jump into one of my projects that was done by one of my editors from the agency. And yeah, essentially the clip is wrapped up, but I just wanted to add a couple of things, add a one animation that I kind of feel like I wouldn't say missing, but more like I feel like it will bring more engagement to the video. So yeah, the thing is, I was taught this by other people that had a creative agency and generally just had an agency before me and have more experience in this field. The thing that I recommended the most is obviously you want to delegate stuff to other people just to make your life easier. I mean, that's the whole point of having an agency, but you should always do the first 10 and the last 5% of the project, something like that. The percentage is not that important, but it's important for you to kind of just go in and leave your own signature on top of the video because you're not only like being the one in control, you're not only being the one that's going to suggest all of the amends, but you're supposed to just pave the way for the video to actually be as optimized as possible for the client. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. Um I don't have the full video yet, but I do have some segments for the video just for me to kind of get the feel of the style. I mean, I did kind of come up with a vision board and I know what the style is supposed to be. But since the video is not complete yet, I do have a couple of animations that are going to just provide me with what the final product should look like. And then I'll just take notes from that and make like a mini intro animation. Not exactly at the first second of the video, but in the first couple of seconds. Do keep in mind that we're missing SFX and music in these videos. So that's going to get added on top, and that's why it might feel a bit empty.
Sales has shaped the course of history in ways that we rarely think about.
You see, this part's completely empty sound-wise, but there's supposed to be a bunch of stuff in.
Behind every great civilization, every technological leap, every global empire lies one fundamental skill: the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, you'll learn how understanding to sell has never been more important than right now. The year was
Yeah, this part, I don't like it being this empty. It's like the first after the 14-second all the way to 30, 30, 33, 32. That's just too much emptiness. We have to add something there. But yeah, I really like this part. I like how the audio clips are kind of split away from each other, right? It's not just constant talking, but essentially this part is supposed to be a pause, and then we're just supposed to hear some city noise transition into like a nature noise. Just a cozy fireplace, just like at Cuba's. We have those SFX in, and maybe some SFX from Native Indians or the let me just check. Lenape tribe. Yeah. Um, there's just a bunch of things. And also the music as well. Have to be added in. That's not visual. But yeah, this is what I wanted to go for. I do have a vision board as well. Johnny Harris's clip that Shuai showcased in one of the previous calls really inspired me to make something like this. Not just in terms of the style, but also in terms of the scripting. Whereas I this is like a channel based on sales, right? And I just wanted to add something on top of that, which is not just technical knowledge about selling stuff, but essentially I wanted to introduce a story that's going to be interesting to anyone, and then the point of the story will transition into what the channel is actually about. So that way we have a much bigger audience, a much bigger pool of people that may be interested into our product, right? Some might say, yeah, Nicola, you're making the pool really big. Sorry. But you might not get the right leads for your product and stuff like that, which is true to an extent, but you just have to do it like that. you should be careful because the thing that kind of makes you not have the right pool is not how you present it as a whole, but rather what kind of knowledge you present, right? Or what kind of value you bring later on. Because I don't think that everybody that's into sales is going to be the customer because essentially the client sells a school, pretty much a school community, just like mine, but about sales. And we might have a bunch of people that find each story interesting, that get introduced to sales, and then they'll be like, "Oh, this is really cool. I want to try it out." So, we don't have that much of an audience where we can just kind of strictly base it on sales, and I don't think that's a way to grow. Like you're not going to grow by just strictly basing everything on your niche and trying to get all of those people in, especially if your niche is small. And I would say that sales I wouldn't say sales as a thing is small. It's the biggest thing ever. But as a niche, I think it's just small because it's uninteresting, right? So that's why we came in and we wanted to present it in a different way. See if we can expand the niche. That's pretty much what you do as somebody that's starting out in a niche which is not that popular. Like you have the ability to expand it. You shouldn't be looking at everything from a point where you're just a player in the game because a player sometimes can change the game and it might be you. So don't be too scared to think that or to believe that. But anyway, let's check out some of
And
the
the
other.
idea of selling had never crossed their mind. Now, you might think, how can
They're kind of short.
the
Hopefully
concept
they're
of
not this short.
value is different from person to person, even to this day. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Only when you ask good questions, actively listen, and understand your buyer can you find out what is it that is most valuable to them.
This was interesting because I mean, I pretty much seen this animation hundreds of times, similar thing, guy looking at a laptop, but this is the first time where I kind of see it at a different style, and I think that was kind of missing. Um, and with that, I do approve it, so it's not too bad. But this is essentially what I wanted to do, just like a storyline with people, um, and actually having stuff on the screen, which is not just connected to the what speaker is saying. So we're trying to well, this guy has like 9 fingers here. That's not good. But yeah, we're not just trying to, visualize everything that the person is saying to an extent where like we're pretty much just doing animations for deaf people, but it has a story of its own, right? It's more in depth. It's more interesting than just what the speaker is saying, and that's also why I wanted to introduce those poses in between the voiceover, so we can actually concentrate on the visual part of the video.
Was to pitch his product to the Lenape's language and to present what was valuable to them. The Dutch,
I think it's a really these are really good animation. I'm just hoping that they come in they're frequent enough for the video because they're really cool, but I'm just hoping that they're not too short. And because in the sit down, there's nothing really happening in the sit
and the
down.
idea
So, yeah, we'll see the full clip. But anyway, we're going to download this one. Get it into After Effects. I still have Blender on. Just gonna close this thing. And let's go. Jamie, how's it looking with new videos? Anything else in the batch that you're working on?
Yeah, it's all good at the moment. Just finishing up his private community videos. I think there's like 80 or something in total. So yeah, we've got loads of them to do. Um
80?
Yeah, it's quite a lot because he's launching a school community. I think I'm not sure when it's coming out, but he's got a lot of the classroom segment, so he's gonna have like shit tons of videos to.
Oh, like course content.
Yeah, so they're only like 1 to 2 minutes long, so it's not crazy lengths, but there's just so many of them. So just
Yeah,
working through them.
makes sense.
It's just a little bit more annoying because it's not like a going to be a public video, so it's a bit harder for me to sort of share them. I'm gonna have to take the audio out, share less of the scene, if that makes sense.
You mean in the school community?
No, not particularly in this community. I usually post my stuff on Twitter, so um,
Oh,
usually
makes
on
sense.
Twitter, but yeah, I'll definitely share some in here, like some clips from it.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Is it so how is it compared to the YouTube videos?
It's the same sort of style, It's just like he's got a different talking head video. It's like a different scene, specific to his community.
hmm,
But yeah, it's like still AI images mostly. I've tried implementing some motion graphics here and there to sort of mix it up a little bit. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm going for what you recommended in the feedback, more of like a storytelling style instead of focusing on the aesthetics and yeah, painting a picture a bit more.
100%, man. You know, stories are everything.
Definitely. And it sort of broadens your mind a bit as well because I feel
Sales
like I was
Sorry.
focusing too much on like a certain aesthetic, but when you focus on like the thing behind what's being said, you come up with better ideas and it helps tell the story better as well.
Pretty much. You know, the aesthetics. The thing is that people don't realize is that you do not start with the aesthetics. You start with the concept, and then you try and make it pretty, because it's hard to like try and come up the aesthetics first, and then be well limited, you know, to what you are kind of getting yourself into with the style of the video, and then trying to come up with whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, so
every technological leap, every global empire lies one fundamental skill: the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, you'll learn how understanding to sell has never been more important.
this audio needs work. I don't know if it's edited or it's supposed to be edited later on.
One fundamental skill: the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this empire lies one fundamental skill: the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, you'll learn how understanding to sell has never been more important than right now. The year was 1626.
Okay, so I want to leave one part where we're actually seeing the speaker, just for personality reasons. But yeah, other than that, we're gonna animate stuff. Just give me a second, gents. All right, all right.
Empire lies one fundamental skill: the ability to sell. And perhaps empire lies one global empire lies one fundamental skill: the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, you'll learn how understanding to sell has never been more important.
Ah. I almost want to make it like a title sequence. So the ability to sell, one thing that just comes into my mind, just having two open palms from two different people. One has a bunch of coins in, the other one has a bunch of other crap in, and that's how sales are. Maybe like a arrow animation, circle or arrow animation around the behind the arms, and the ability to sell just as a title. Now the Manhattan purchase, I don't know what I want to do with that. Maybe I'm just not sure. If I want to leave it transparent, you just add text, but I think it's important to title it. Hey Nicola, when do you review posts from school? I can't wait to see your review on my recent long form video. Thanks. Hey Jacob. Yeah, we'll do that this weekend, bro. Sorry for the delay. Just had a bunch of things in the pipeline, but we'll get to doing all of the reviews ASAP. All right, let's get this background.
Every global empire lies one fundamental leap. Every global empire lies one fundamental Every global empire lies one fundamental skill. Global empire lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today you'll learn, and today forever. And today you'll learn world forever. And today you'll learn how understanding to sell has never been more important. Lies one fundamental skill, the ability
Yeah, pretty much something like this. All right, so I do know what I'm gonna do with the first part. It's just going to be these two hands from the Renaissance. I don't know how the picture is called, but essentially one is gonna drop a bunch of coins into the open palm of the right hand. I'm just gonna flip it vertically. Just gonna flip it vertically, so you can drop into the palm. So a bunch of coins dropping in. But I'm now curious what I'm gonna do with the second part, which is the Manhattan Purchase. 24 for $24. Hmm. There might be an idea. All right, let's try this thing. The creation of Adam. Damn. Should have known that. Looks like we'll have to cut it ourselves. I'm not gonna use that one. What have I done? Well, still look kind of crap, but we'll try and see if it will work out. Anyway, for this part, what I kind of had in mind is instead of this being the background, I'd rather have this be an overlay, just so we can stylize it a bit. So we're gonna grab a solid, make it the same color, pull it below, and then yeah, I might just have to go with this pick through Photoshop. While I'm here, I may go in and and cut the finger so I can move it freely in After Effects. Oh my God. Gonna do the same for this one. Nice. It's a really good job. So for this finger, this one's actually going to move because I think it's going to hold a coin, maybe, or a piece of like a $100 bill, something like that. And this one is a separate layer because when the coin is falling in, I want this finger to be on top of the coin as a layer. Now it's time to export every single layer separately. All right, and as we discussed, this thing that we download from Vecteezy, we just want to use it as an overlay. But we have to put a different mode here. Let's leave it as darken. All right. Two cans. Gonna separate it to two layers and just gonna cut it out. Gonna grab this mask, copy and paste it, and just invert it. There you go. It's time to name the layers so we don't get confused. Background. Left hand. Right hand. Right thumb. Left thumb. And overlay. All right, so for the left hand, go grab the left thumb, pull it back, parent it. Let's change that anchor point so we can move it correctly later on. Right hand, parent the thumb. Get it here. All right. Hmm. Now, do I want to flip the hand? I don't want to flip the hand because I want to use a dollar bill. And why I want to use a dollar bill? Because so essentially they're going to like the one hand is going to hold some money, the other one is going to go for the money, and then we're going to drop the scene down with the camera. And this way, we're going to have the Manhattan Island below, and then we're going to add some text. I think that's the way to go.
Lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever.
Hmm. This is a really cool pick. I want to use this, but I don't think that's possible. Maybe we can make it something out of Midjourney. What? All right. I'm just trying to find because we had a picture from one of the videos with a similar style they were trying to pull. And I'm just curious, what did I put in as a description? Yeah, right. Collage is the way to go, 100%. Check this thing. Looking good. Surprise me, Midjourney. Make something good. Hmm. This looks kind of interesting, but I don't know. It just came up with its own style. It's kind of weird. Maybe I want to remove minimalistic. Let's see what else he can pull out. This is not too bad. Let's give it one more shot. This looks good. What do you guys think? This one, but we'll have to remove this part because it just doesn't make any sense. Or this one.
First one.
This one?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I like this one better as well. We're just gonna upscale it. We're just gonna give it a quick cut. As you can see, I'm just kind of going. I'm just skipping these antennas and stuff. I think it's just gonna be too much of a hassle, and no one's gonna notice really. And all of the cuts that I'm doing, I'm kind of trying to find a shortcut every single time, but still trying to make it look good. Not trying to make the lines be all over the place, but rather keep them straight, you know. But still, not cut everything in detail because just gonna take too much time. And I do believe it's not gonna be noticeable at all, just because the picture is pretty big, and when we zoom it out, we're already doing a tidy job. What's with this building? So as I said, we're removing this part because I literally don't know what it is. We can keep these buildings. There we go. And I want to make this ship movable. I mean, the AI really doesn't help us with cutting stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. If it looks good, looks good. If it doesn't, we'll remove it. All right. Okay, so we'll remove this for now. And we're gonna grab dollar bill. Now, the dollar bill is gonna make a huge difference in terms of what the background we're looking for. Because we can barely see it. Maybe. We'll make it more green.
Lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell.
Let's start animating some stuff.
lies one fundamental skill.
Nope. We gotta change the FPS.
Lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this.
Okay, before we add that, I'm gonna pre-compose this whole thing because we're not gonna move the. Well, we're pretty much not gonna move anything, I believe. And we can add the puppet pin tool.
Skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this. Lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no sell. And perhaps no story lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $20. Lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no perhaps no story illustrates this better. And perhaps no story illustrates lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better. The skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no lies one fundamental skill, the ability to lies one fundamental skill, the empire lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no empire lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story empire lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. Perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. The ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 and perhaps the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates to sell. And perhaps no
Sup, bro? Nitish, what's up, bro?
Hello, am I
man.
audible?
What?
Hello, am I audible?
Yep.
Yeah, hi Nicola, I am Nitish,
What's up,
and
bro?
I just onboarded the course yesterday, so, and
Awesome.
I'm not aware with the things how these are going to work, and like the basic things from where I need to start. It will be really helpful if you will introduce me like the course, the main things on which I have to work.
How familiar are you with After Effects?
Not really.
Not really. Go to
Yeah.
the you have the classroom. In the beginner's guide, go to the layout introduction just to kind of introduce yourself to the After Effects layout, its UI. After that, you have animations from scratch and you have animations breakdown in After Effects.
Okay.
You have those two folders, check those out. And also on these calls, feel free to ask anything that you're not understanding for me to kind of explain it to you.
Okay. These calls are going to be every day or weekly?
Two weekly calls. We have two weekly calls, 3 p.m. Central European time to start, and we
Okay.
usually hang around for about 3 to 4 hours, depending on how much an animation takes. But this
Okay.
is pretty much the time where you, I mean, I'm trying to explain it to everybody. I'm on these calls where like you should be vocal, ask anything you want, or feel
Right.
free to, you know, jump in at any point in time.
Right.
uh, Obviously, this community is a bunch of editors, so we're all introverts. We're all a bit shy. We don't want to ask questions, but I do highly encourage everybody to just kind of, go in, ask whatever they want, and I'm more than happy to explain anything you
Right.
guys need. So yeah.
Right. Okay. So mainly we are going to focus on After Effects here in this course.
On
Or
this call, yeah. On this call, yeah. For
oh,
the last month or two, we've been focusing highly on After Effects, just so I can get more footage and more material to you guys when you're kind of getting to know After Effects. And then we're starting since we had our last call, we were doing Blender 3D, and that's kind of what I'm trying to introduce now. So I'm going to mix between After Effects and Blender. Still, we're going to do more After Effects just because everybody is still not too familiar with 2D motion design. So,
right.
but yeah, we'll introduce a bit more
Okay. Okay.
Blender.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. If there will be something, I will ping you out on the text or something.
Of course,
Yeah.
feel free to do whatever you want, man. And
Sure.
also, we have another call, which is a sales call that's usually on Fridays, but we had a bit of a reschedule. This call was supposed to be on Thursday, but usually on Fridays, we have a sales call where you can talk with my partner who's expert in sales, and he'll help you with coming up with your offer and constructing your kind of deal with your client. So, obviously,
Okay.
so you can get paid
Yeah. Yeah.
better, right?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No worries, man. All right. The dollar is not looking good. I don't like it being saturated, so I might as well lose this, see how it looks. Should be better. But anyway, for this one, let's try and upscale it because it's pretty crappy in terms of quality. Now this looks cool.
So as you struggle to find the feel with your feet, ask yourself, can you dance? Could it be that you would understand this beat to which we dance more clearly had you been given a chance?
So I just want to move the position from left to right on the sky, so it looks like the clouds are moving.
Lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps
Hey Nicholas, so I joined the community on 30th of November. Will I get removed from the community exactly on 30th, or do I get 2 to 3 days to renew pay again before I get removed? Not 100% sure how it works in terms of the school automation, but yeah, no worries. We'll figure it out. You won't get removed. If you're looking to stay for the next month. 30th of November, that's not even the last. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I'll let you know. I can let you know right now. Just give me a second. Yeah, essentially, yeah. Pretty much the same date when you got into the community is the last day when the payment renews. But let me know if there's an issue with that. If you're looking to pay a few days after or something, we'll figure it out. You can DM me on school. Anyway, gents, let's move forward.
lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. $24 that changed the world.
Actually, no. We're not gonna wiggle. Yeah, I'll let you know. Thanks a lot. No worries, man. All right. So for the boat, for the boat. I kind of wanted to move the wiggle around, but I don't want to have a random wiggle. I want it to be a constant one. So we'll have to use a different expression. Loop out. Ping pong.
Lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better. Lies one fundamental skill, the ability illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worthy to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world.
We'll see about that color. I have a cool plugin that I downloaded. I just have to remember what's its name. Give me just a sec, guys. Saber. Let's see if this is gonna work. So there's a bunch of things that you can do with this cyber effect. One of the things that I did was try and add some fire on top of text, which looked really good. So you see like burning. But what I want to do is I want to add smoke. Not sure if that's possible, but let's see. All right. This works.
This is better than the Manhattan Purchase. This better than the Manhattan Purchase. this better. Story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. Story illustrates this better than the Manhattan. Story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. A story illustrates this better than the Manhattan. Story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. A deal. No story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. A deal. Perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. No story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. A deal worth just $24 that changed. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just 24 than the Manhattan.
So for the smoke, as you can see, I added that plugin. I parented the thing to the boat, and it was just the evolution just moves always, so it's like always wiggling, but I couldn't move it from up to down or from down to up. So it seems like the smoke is going up, but instead, what I've done is just moved it manually, and then I just masked it out. But yeah, when you rewatch it, you're gonna figure out that the only thing that I really done is I pre-compose it, so later on, as it's moving from down to up, the mask will stay in one place, and it's not going to be animated with the position from the pre-comp. Okay. Not sure where the null is. We'll create it ourselves. Hmm. Interesting. Looks like the layers don't want to move. What if I grab all of these? Hmm. Weird. Let me just restart it. See if there's an issue with the software. Hi, Nicola. Question on the pricing for a hypothetical customer. How much could you ask for this animation? Well, I do not ask for particular. I don't ask a price for a single animation. This is just like the whole video was done like this. So, it's a full video with multiple animations. It was like 7 minutes long. So I would say around $1,000, 1,500, something like that.
Skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps
Now we all know life can get lonely sometimes. As long as we got love, we are never alone.
higher lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth
All right, we had to do it manually. For some weird reason, I'm not sure why Depth plugin is not working, but it is what it is.
lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. Every global empire lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. No story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world. Lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24.
I like how green the city is.
Lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today you'll learn global empire lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal.
Now let's check for the font. Because I want to add some text animations here. Alimento, really nice font that I found. But actually, this one's bought. Wanted to buy a new font for the client, so he felt special. What was the name? Alimento. Wanted to add something here. Let me figure out the animation before we try and warp it around.
Deal worth just $24. A deal worth just $24. No story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. Illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. Illustrates this better than the Manhattan. Story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. Illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase.
I think it is.
Illustrates this better than the Manhattan.
It's kind of cartoonish, but
Illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase.
I think it kind of fits the style. And then we're just gonna add. Actually, I think we can add that here. Yep. We just add these to make it look like has some detail on the text.
Illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. A deal worth just illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase. A deal worth just.
Okay. And then we're just going to use the warp.
Hey, it's Amy Watson and Jimmy Harvey, and we are here in beautiful Austria, and this is our Soft River house mix. Enjoy.
Maybe we want to keep it straight though.
no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24. Illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24. Than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. In the global empire lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the lies one fundamental skill: the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24. There lies one fundamental skill: the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than empire lies one fundamental skill: the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, and perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, you'll skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world. Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. Perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And
What? Why is it not a PNG?
deal worth just $24. A deal worth just $24. A deal worth just $24. Worth just $24. That worth just $24. Worth just worth just $24. Worth just $24. Worth just worth just $24. Deal worth just $24. Deal worth just $24. Deal worth just $24. That changed the world. Worth just $24. That deal worth just $24. That changed the world. Worth just $24. Deal worth just $24. That change worth just $24. Worth just $24. Worth just $24. That change worth just $24. That change worth just $24. That change to sell. To sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24.
Gotta bring back that feeling. Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about. That feeling that's been gone for way too long. Remember when the music felt so good? I don't know where we went wrong. Maybe we need to stop and let the music take control.
Better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24. Illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24. A deal worth just $24 that changed the world. A deal worth just $24. Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24. Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24. Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24. Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, you'll learn how just $24 better than the Manhattan Purchase. Purchase, a deal worth just $24. Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, you'll a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And
If you guys are wondering what I'm doing now, I just felt like the canvas was a bit empty at the end, where nothing's really in the center and we're kind of missing something. So just wanted to add a plane that's going to fly from behind the buildings to the left side, just so we can keep the focus in the center and also have something just to boost the engagement, because I feel like that zoom in didn't add enough. There was nothing that we're particularly zooming in to, so yeah, I just wanted to add something on top.
To sell. To sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than $24 that changed the world for just $24 that changed the Manhattan purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. Manhattan purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, deal worth just $24. A deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, you'll learn just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, purchase a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever. And today, you'll learn.
Okay, that was good. And on top of that, just a couple of things. As I always like to do now. Lens blur. And some chromatic aberration.
the gift of sight, what will it tell me? What will it tell me if I had the gift of sight? What would it tell me? Left to my own awareness.
Don't know what it is. Oh. Okay. I'm not sure where the overlay left. Is this the overlay? Okay.
If I had the gift of sight, what will it tell me?
Empire lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever.
Looking good. Now let's just select that part. We can export this bad boy.
What is it? What will it be? Waves. What is it? What will it be? Waves.
And voila. Well, ladies and gents, we're gonna export this, see how it looks like in full resolution, but let me know if you have any questions, any thoughts. We got the animation rendered. Let's see how it's looking.
Lies one fundamental skill, the ability to sell. And perhaps no story illustrates this better than the Manhattan Purchase, a deal worth just $24 that changed the world forever.
It's all right. It's a good filler, I would say. Nothing too complex.